Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So 3 things in this present moment that I am grateful for, right? So first thing I would say, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is I'm super grateful for my life and all the experiences in it. I mean, there was one point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this or I can't believe that. And it kind of just hit me and it was like, you know what? I love my life and I love any ups and downs and struggles and just the different experiences that I've had. I'm like, yo, I love my life and I love the things that I've overcome and I've gone through and people and stuff that I've connected with and just all that good stuff. I'm grateful for my life. The second thing that I would say that I'm grateful for in this present moment is sleep. So I don't really sleep too much and I don't also get the best quality of sleep, where sometimes I'll wake up every hour or so, or I'll just stay up dumb late. Next thing I'll look at the phone and it'll be 3 o'clock and I'm like, yo, I'm still up. What is this doing? And my body will never let me sleep past 7. But the past couple of nights, I've actually had really good sleep. I'm talking about that sleep. I didn't wake up through the middle of the night. When I did wake up, it was 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh, sweet. So I'm super grateful for sleep because it's super important for us. Our body needs to rest. So I'm grateful for that. The third thing that I am grateful for is that I made it another year. Woohoo, another year. So time is just really so precious. And just to wake up every single day is a huge thing and it's a blessing and it's an honor. So just to make it another year here physically on this earth in this lifetime, I'm very grateful for it. So if you're new to Seeing with Your Soul, welcome. And if you're wondering why is she talking about what she's grateful for? So I like to start off now each podcast by sharing what I'm grateful for and then having you guys share what you're grateful for, because it's super important and it's powerful and it shifts the energy and the vibration of the collective. The more that we're showing how appreciative we are of things, we're able to open ourselves up to receive even more. So I want you guys to go ahead and close your eyes. Obviously, if you're driving, please do not do this, but go ahead and just close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. Shake it out. Shake it out. You just got yourself grounded and centered and you're coming from the heart, that heart center, that heart chakra. And now you can say this out loud or you can say it in your head. What are 3 things in this present moment that you are grateful for? And don't be afraid to dig deep and to go deeper into what you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be something super magnificent. It could be something that's super small, but when I say go deep, meaning go a little further than just the surface level. But if that surface level is something that you are super grateful for in this present moment, by all means, say that. Just kind of want to get the juices flowing with you. So what are those 3 things that you are grateful for in this present moment? So good. Okay, so today's episode, I'm so happy. So by the time you're listening to this episode, it is my birthday, 40. I turned 40 years old. So remember when I was listing the 3 things that I'm grateful for, and one of them I said was to make it another year. I'm super hype about that. I remember at one point where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get older. And this is like this. And like, oh my God, I'm going to be 40 and like my life is over if I'm not here and I'm not there. And it's like, no, I'm grateful that I've made it another year. So happy birthday to me when you are listening to this. And this is why it is out 2 days earlier than normal, because I wanted it to be on my birthday. And this episode, what I wanted to bring to you guys was 40 things that I've learned in my 40 years. So I want to share these things with you. And while I've learned tons of things and had many experiences, these are the things that really truly stood out for me. And they aren't in any order at all. So they're not in the order of importance. They're just as the way they were coming through to me, right? So these are 40 things that I've learned in my 40 years, and I want to share them with you and hope that something resonates and that you can learn from some of the things that I've experienced and I've learned, right? So 1, we are truly here temporarily. Like I used to hear like here today, gone tomorrow. And I'm like, what? Or like, oh, you're on borrowed time. What? Who am I borrowing it from? What do you mean? And when my best friend, Gloria, went to sleep and she didn't wake up that day, I mean, after that, it really just was like, wow, we really are here temporarily. Like we weren't meant to be here forever. And contrary to what my beliefs were and what I thought, I don't know, for some reason, I just kind of thought we would just be here like a really, really long time and, just grow old. And yes, people do that. But in the case with my best friend, she was 39. So it was like, wow, we really are here temporarily. And because we are here on this borrowed time and can be a short period of time, like we need to live our life to the fullest, literally, like explore, have fun, do things because we are here temporarily. So why not make the best of it? Number 2, this took a really long time. It's okay to cry and be vulnerable. So I was taught that being vulnerable was something that was very weak. And then people would think that you were weak. And then people would have things over you if you were to be vulnerable and express like how you felt. And then, they could use that against you. And it was all these stories that was in my head. And again, this was just really recently. I learned that it's okay. It's okay to cry. Crying is actually a part of the healing process. And we do need to release those emotions so they don't stay trapped in our body. And being vulnerable is you sharing how it is that you feel because you know what? They're your feelings and you should own that shit, right? So it's okay to cry and be vulnerable. And number 3, I'm never stuck. I always have a choice. So it took a while for me to really learn that as well, because I would be like, yo, I'm stuck. It's like, I don't even know what to do. And the thing is that we're never stuck. We may feel stuck, but we're never stuck because we have free will and we always have a choice. And there's always a choice and always something else that we can do. We just have to muster up the courage to be able to do it. So remember, you're never stuck. You always have a choice. 4, having a broken heart is actually beautiful. Hear me out on this one, guys. And it's okay to love again. So if you've ever had a broken heart, perfect. That means you actually loved. And you loved. There's so many people who will physically leave this earth and have never loved and never even understood like this unconditional love or this true definition of love for them, because that really just determines on like the person. But if you had your heart broken, that means you loved. And I think that that's like such a beautiful thing. So for me, it was more of like, yo, you broke my heart. Like, I'm done. I'm not even going to open my heart up for nobody else. That's crazy. Why would I put myself through that again? Right. And then you shut yourself off versus looking at the fact of like, if your heart was broken, like you really cared for that person. You really actually loved them. That's why they were able to even quote unquote, like hurt you, or it feels like that depths of like in your heart, like your soul, like what the hell? Well, that means that you loved like this person. And to love, someone is such a beautiful thing. And what were all those, the fondest memories and just the different things that you guys experienced together and the fun that you had. And it's really more, instead of being so sad, like over it, really just look and be grateful and like thankful for those great opportunities that you had with this person. When I say opportunity, I mean like this opportunity to like allow yourself to be open and to receive love, to give love. So having a broken heart is actually a beautiful thing because you loved. And I know that I've loved. Number 5, motherhood is hard as shit, but beautiful at the same time. So I'm a mom of 4 and that shit is hard. That shit is hard. And when I say hard, because you're responsible for some little beings, some little people, and you get tested, and, you know, you got different attitudes and different personalities. And now you have this responsibility that is not just you. So you have to also think too and be able to say like, okay, I gotta like protect, or I gotta provide, or whatever the case is. So, you know, motherhood, you know, can be very hard, but at the same time, it's a beautiful thing. And it's very rewarding, and it is absolutely like a blessing. But I definitely learned that motherhood is hard. Number 6, there's no one size fits all in nothing. Even when you get those clothes or those socks or those Snuggies or whatever, it's one size fits all. Like, no, it's either too tight or swallowing some people. Like, it's bullshit, right? But also a lot of the conditioning and the ways that we were taught was that there's just, everything is just linear. Everything is just straight. And there's just this one size fits all. So we're going to write these books about parenting, and we're going to write these books about, I don't know, I'm just going to say parenting. And all these books will say the same thing. And then something happens as you're raising your child. And you're like, wait a minute, what happened? What page is this on? I didn't see this in the book, because it's not a one size fits all, right? So number 7. Fear can leave your ass crippled. Yes. So I have had things in my life that I have been afraid of, and I've had like, you know, fear. Shit, I'm afraid of mice. They ran me out of New York, and I packed up in the middle of the night and moved to Virginia because of fucking mice. And I was afraid. It was fear. And I'm talking about crippled to the point that before I left, and I was married at the time, I would sit up all night, and I'd be like, I'd wake him up and like, did you hear that? What is that? Oh my God, I think it's in here. And he let him tell that story. Y'all would be laughing, like dying, like laughing. But, you know, I was so afraid of that it literally crippled me to the point where I just sat on the bed, you know, with my kids holding them and not moving and waiting for daybreak, because that was my savior when it was daytime for whatever reason that was. But fear will leave your ass crippled if you get into it. Number 8, everything I need is truly within me. So I've heard that before. Didn't know what the hell that meant. I think at one point I thought it was the stupidest shit ever, but I wasn't open, you know, I wasn't open like I am now. And I understand everything I need is within me. Sometimes I just need a little reminding. Sometimes I need a little guidance, and then I can pull these things out of me and then, you know, bring them into fruition, be able to like use it or whatever the case is. But everything that I need is within me. Everything that you need is within you. You may just need a little nudge, a little reminder, a little guidance, a little shake up, but it's in there. Number 9, I actually love myself. And I learned this over the years, and I really, truly learned it, I want to say within the last 3 years. And that's because there's that shift where I can say like, yeah, I love myself, but my actions weren't in alignment with it. My head and my heart were not connected at all. But as time started going, I guess at these last 3 years, I started realizing that, wow, I do love myself. So every time I spoke up for myself, or whenever I said no to something that wasn't serving me, it was because I love myself. And loving myself doesn't take away from, you know, loving someone else. It's just that I love myself more, and that's okay. Number 10, there really is beauty in your darkness. So I'm pretty sure most of my listeners and stuff, like, we're afraid of our shadow. We're afraid of the dark, which is AKA we're afraid of the unknown. So we avoid it and we run from it. We hide it. We build a wall. We do everything except for face it. But in actuality, what I've learned is that there's so much beauty and miracles and blessings that comes in like the darkness. 2 of the dark periods in my life was, 1, losing my best friend, was her passing, and me not understanding what was going on in life, and me just not understanding why was I even here? What was the point of it? Was like the purpose? I just didn't understand. And it was a really dark place, but there was beauty in that, because this is how I'm even here having this podcast and talking to you guys, was because her death. And with her, like, she helped me to remember what my purpose in life is, right? And that came from a dark period, which is that then I learned more about myself, and then my gifts emerged. And then I've helped literally hundreds of like people connect to their truth. And this came from a dark period. So there's so much beauty, you know, in our darkness. And the second thing that I would say that stands out the most, and these are most recent, I was in the darkest period of my life and the lightest all at the exact same time. And that was when I chose to leave from Virginia and come to a state that I don't know anybody here. I don't know where I'm going to live. and I'm leaving from, leaving family and leaving from where my home was. And I'm doing all this by stepping out on faith. And it was super dark because it was like, what the heck is going on? What am I going to do? But at the same time, it was light because it was so freeing and liberating. And I was like, heck yeah, I can do this. So there's so much beauty in your darkness. You just need to just muster up the courage and face it. And when you face it, you are then, how is this coming to me? It will then be revealed where the hidden gems and the beauty is in that darkness. Number 11, I can do whatever I want as long as I truly believe in myself. And it took I'm not going to say it took a long time to learn that. I just didn't really feel it and understand it until I started revisiting things. And I'm like, yo, I'm a badass and I can do whatever the hell I want. I just got to believe that I can do it. And that's really what it is believing and having that belief. So you can do whatever it is that you want as long as you believe in it. And as long as you believe in yourself, you can make it happen. Number 12, you don't have to do it on your own. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have learned this a long time ago, but it's all good. It's these experiences, right? So you don't have to do it on your own. If you need assistance and you need help, that doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than, at all. We can do a lot of things by ourselves, but we can do so much more with others. Right? I always felt, I know one thing that my dad said, he was only in my life for a short period of time before he passed away. And I just remember it. He says, my daughter is not going to ask anybody for anything. My daughter doesn't need to ask anybody for anything. So he was in New York and I was in Virginia and I was still in high school. And he used to send me clothes from New York. And I would get at the time it was the Guess jeans, and I'd have the Jordans, I'd have the Timberlands, that's how I was. Everything was Donna Karan. Everything was so Donna Karan, right? And I'd have all that stuff. And he would even send me money for lunch, but he would be real dramatic with it. And it'll be this big baby bottle, right? This big plastic baby bottle. And it'll be full with money, just loaded with money. And he would ship this stuff down here. And he'd always say my daughter don't have to ask anybody for anything. She don't have to ask anybody for anything. And I'm like, you damn right I don't. So I kept people at a distance in my life and I didn't want to ask anybody for help and I wanted to ask for any assistance. So I allowed my life to be so much harder because I was not going to ask anybody for any help because, oh, hell no. Why would I do that? For them to tell me no if I ask? Oh, hell no. Or for them to throw it up in my face, that they helped me with it. Hell no. For them to have something over me. Oh, no. So that was a thought process, right? And it was I'm going to keep people at a distance and I'm not going to let people in and all. And that's made my life a lot harder. And I want to say these past few years, maybe about 5 years or so, I started really understanding okay, I don't have to do this on my own. It's okay to say, hey, this is what I need. Are you able to, help in this area or can you point me in the right direction or whatever? And it's okay. That was really a big one for me. Number 13, my childhood completely affected my adulthood. I did not think that it did, but it absolutely affected my adulthood. And this is where the inner child work and healing goes through because how could it not, right? But the reason why I felt like it didn't was because I just blocked it out. But I didn't really understand why I do the things that I do or why I don't do the things. And it completely comes from, my childhood. So I say this all the time. If you want to know why you do the things that you do, revisit your childhood. Number 14, keep your ideas and your moves to yourself because others can project their fears onto yours. So I used to be very secretive. I still am. My kids even say they're you're just so secretive. You're so secretive. But what I've learned is that when you have an idea of something, sometimes we start telling other people for it because low key we're looking for that validation, right? And we're looking for someone to validate it. However, you have to be really mindful of that because when someone else has a fear of doing that thing, they will then project it onto you. And if you already have a fear, it's just going to magnify it. So for example, when I was picking up to move, there was a lot of people that didn't know that I was moving. And I didn't want to tell them because one, they was going to have a whole bunch of questions that I didn't have answers to. And then two, I knew that they would project their fears onto the fear that I already had. And what was that going to do? That wasn't going to do me any good. It was as soon as they was to say something, I would be probably yeah, they're right, because I already have a fear. So I've definitely learned in these 40 years is that you sometimes just got to keep shit to yourself. because energy is energy and energy is real. And then you have people who are like, some people be like, oh, like they're hating and stuff, but people who are literally like projecting their fears on it, or they start saying these things that they wouldn't do, or maybe don't do this, or maybe like do that. Like that shit messes with your head. That shit get all in your psyche, and then like your energy and everything shifts and stuff. And it's like, yo, just move in silence. And then obviously, when it comes time that you need to connect with other people on it, just trust and believe you'll be guided. But you don't have to share like your moves and your ideas with everybody, because that could just be a big no-no, especially if you're seeking validation from, outside, because a lot of times, like I said, they'll project their fears on you, but they also will give you their opinions. And they'll say like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that because ... But in actuality, it's really because they don't like it. They don't like that thing. So then they try to end up speaking for the 7 billion people in the world. And that's not cool. So just be mindful of, keeping your ideas and moves to yourself. Number 15, no is a complete sentence, period. Drops mic, does whatever, explanation, all that good stuff. So at one point, it's like, if someone's like, oh, like, hey, do you think you can pick me up and take me like blah, blah, blah? And I'd be like, oh, no, I can't because I have to do ... We don't need to do all of that. No is a complete sentence. Whenever someone asks you a question, because they are asking a question, they know that they're going to receive an answer that's a yes or a no. So they ask the question. So no is a complete sentence. And if someone is around like, oh, no, I can't do it, you don't have to give a reason why. Because guess what? Once you give that reason why, they're going to be able to come back with something else from them. Then what? Then you keep going down this thing and you're lying about this, lying about that. And then they say like, oh, well, no, that's cool. Like, I mean, I understand that you wouldn't be able to drop me off because you have to go to work at that time. That's cool. I can just go early and hang out. Now what you going to say? You're going to say like, okay, well, cool. Yeah, I'll just drop you off early. And now you're resenting that person and you have a problem with them, but it's because you wanted to go into adding a whole bunch of other things behind the no that they're able to come back with, on there versus just saying like no and keep it moving. And it's a complete sentence. It's not rude. It's not you being nasty. It's just you answering the question that was asked of you. So number 16, you are not meant to connect with everyone, and that is okay. So sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, like this person, I'm rocking with this person in my life. Like we're vibing, we're connecting. And then things just start to feel a little different. And you know that there's a shift and you probably know what it is. You're just not in alignment with each other. But you're just like, yo, but we've connected and it's this and it's that. It's just understanding that just because you have a connection with someone doesn't mean that it's going to always stay. It could just mean that that soul contract that you have with that person is now up. And that's okay. Because we're not meant to connect. And as we do that, we make room for new people that's going to be coming along on our journey. So you're not meant to connect with everyone. And it's perfectly fine. Number 17, not everyone thinks the way you do. Oh my God, I learned that from my mom. So my mom would always say that. She'd be like, not everyone thinks the way that you do. And I'm like, well, why don't they? Wait, I'm confused. Why don't they think like this? But really, when you think about it, no, not everyone thinks the way that you do. And that's okay because everyone's their own person and their own individual person on their own journey. So yeah, not everyone thinks the way that you do. And that doesn't mean that the way that they think is wrong either. It just means that the way that they think is right for them. Number 18. Oh my God, this is a big one. Death is not the end. If you've been following the podcast for a while, you would have heard one of the episodes where I talked about that. But I always thought that I was afraid of getting old and I was afraid of dying, and that death meant like, that's it, done, nothing else, whatever. But now I've learned, and I know it through experience, that death is not the end. It just means that we are no longer physically here and in this shell, in this vessel, in this body, but it's not the end. Honestly, it's like it's just the beginning. Number 19, growing older is a privilege and an honor. Oh my God, I was so afraid of getting old. I don't want to get old. Like, I'm super scared to get old. And now I've really learned that some people don't make it. When my best friend passed, she was 39, guys, 39. So some people don't make it. So for me to be, to turn 40 is dope as shit. Like, it's such an honor. It's such a blessing. And as I start to get gray hair, I'm going to rock the salt and pepper look. That's what I say now. But I totally see myself doing that. And I used to I was 25 for like 5 years, a solid 5 years. Like, oh my God, how old are you? I'm like, oh, I'm 25. I'm 25. And when I got to like 30, I'm like, oh my God, I'm 30. That means I'm about to be 50 soon. Like, oh my God. And it was like such a drag or a dread. And it's like, now I'm like, I'm hype about that. I'm absolutely like, there's more wisdom in me. And I woke up, right? I woke up. So growing older is such a privilege and an honor. And I'm excited to be 40 and looking forward to the next chapter. Number 20. Oh, you can have tattoos and still be successful. Hello. So that was super important to me because I got a lot of tattoos, right? I got a lot of tattoos on my body and all. And I owned a home care agency. And I'm going and sitting with like a lot of the, the elderly and their daughters and the sons. And, a lot of them had like a lot of money and, they owned businesses and stuff. So I used to go and it'd be dead ass in the middle of the summer, right? It's not hot like it is out here in Arizona when I was in Richmond, but it'd be hot. And I would wear like long sleeves to cover up my tattoos because I didn't want them to see my tattoos, because I didn't want them to judge me. And if they judge me, then they would think that my company couldn't like represent them or take care of them. So let me just hide my tattoos. And it was one day, don't remember when, I wish I did, but I was like, oh, I have an appointment with this potential client. Let me go get ready. And I'm struggling trying to find something that I can wear that was going to cover up the tattoos. That wasn't going to have me sweating like I was crazy. And I got frustrated and I was like, the hell with it. I want to wear this maxi dress and it's going to show my tattoos and I don't care. And if I go in there and they judge me based off of my tattoos, I don't need them as a client. But if I cover up my tattoos or I leave them out, I'm still the same person that they're rocking with and that they're vibing with and that they're choosing for us to care, for their loved ones. And I was like, and I'm done. I'm done hiding my tattoos. And I went and it was so liberating because after that, I've never covered up my tattoos to go to like a place because I'm like, even when they didn't see my tattoos, I am hella successful at this. Like, you guys are loving, my agency, loving what we're doing. And I got tattoos all over the place. Like, so the tattoos wasn't nothing. That was just a conditioning and something that was within me where that was just put like, oh, you have your tattoos and this is what, you're not going to be successful. It doesn't look professional or whatever, like the case is. And the thing is that if that's you, then that's you. And if people want to judge you for that, then you don't need to be rocking with them. You don't need to be servicing them or whatever, like the case is, because your tattoos don't define who you are at all. So number 21, I truly love to create. So I'm not going to say that I've always felt like I was a creator, but as I've gotten like older, in a good solid 3-4 years, I really love and understand that I'm like, I love to create. I love to take something and take nothing, and turn it into something. Like, I love to create. I love tapping into that creative side of me and allowing that to just like blossom. So number 22, not having my dad in my life did affect me. I did not notice that until I just turned 40. I was 35-ish. I always said, I was like, well, not having my dad in my life it never affected me. No, I'm not swinging around poles. I'm not sleeping with a whole bunch of different like men and just never keeping a solid like relationship. And then I realized that was a story that was painted in my head of people who have daddy issues, right? And I was like, I have daddy issues. They just don't look like what I thought. They don't look like the picture that was painted, but it absolutely affected me. And I had to do that inner child work to really work through some of that. So part of that was where, even with my dad saying, you don't have to ask my daughter's not going to ask anybody for anything, right? So what that did was I developed a fear of rejection. So I don't want to ask you to help me because if you tell me no, then how is that going to make me feel? So that's a part of what that was like, now I have this fear of rejection. So I don't want to put myself out there because I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to get rejected because I don't want to have my feelings hurt and I don't like how that feels. So I'm just going to avoid that at cost. And I'm going to allow my life to be so much more harder than it needed to be because I'm not going to ask anybody for help. I'm not going to allow you to have that control over me. I'm not going to allow you to reject me, right? So this is what happens when we're a child and certain things are drilled into us and now then affects us as a whole adult. And even with me not wanting to be vulnerable because vulnerable is weak, right? That's what I thought and that's what I was taught. So I'm going to keep everybody at a damn distance from me. I'm not going to allow you to get close to me. And then one day I got hurt. And I said, what the F-U-C-K? Holy shit. I was keeping people at a distance and my ass got hurt anyway. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So absolutely not having my dad in my life, really, it did affect me. Number 23. My kids are their own individual being. This one was a little tough because like they're my kids, my everything, and they're not mine. Like they're individual people. And as you get into that little possessive thing, like, no, those are my goddamn kids, right? They're mine. And I had to really understand that they are here just like me to evolve and grow and learn lessons and have experiences, and they're their own individual person. And me, I am their mother, so I am the one who, participated and birthed them. And now what I'm really here to do is to allow them to be themselves, allow them to experience and explore life while I'm creating these bumpers for them and these healthy boundaries, and just to be there to make sure they don't bump their head, make sure they don't hurt themselves, make sure they don't hurt other people, but understand that they are on their own journey and that it is okay for them to express themselves. If they are not harming themselves and they are not harming someone else, it is okay for you to have purple hair today. It is okay for you tomorrow to cut all of your hair off. Like, it is okay for you to want to do dance class and then halfway through it, you really feel and understand, like, this is not for me, and you curve and you do soccer. That is okay. They are here to explore. They are here to have experiences, and they are doing this as an individual person. And that doesn't take away from me being like their mom, their mother. Number 24. It's okay to not, it's funny, I got this right here. It's okay to not finish something that you just aren't feeling anymore. And what I, like the example I just gave with I used to feel like, where I was like taught that, if I started something, I had to finish it. So even though it was miserable, made me, upset, was miserable, I didn't like it. It was taking away a lot of stuff, maybe costing even more money, but I got to see this through. Well, why do I need to see it through? What do I need to see it through just to say like, I completed this? But if I'm not feeling it, then I can just curve and quit and go and do nothing. It doesn't make me a quitter. It doesn't make me, and that's another thing that was just really, conditioned and taught. I even projected that on my daughter. This was like my 14-year-old. I'm like, you never finish anything. That's your problem. You always want to start something. You never want to see it through, But if you're not feeling it, you're just not feeling it. What is there to really see through? Curve, go to the next thing. This is a part of life of exploring. Right? So it's okay to not finish something if you're not feeling it anymore. It's the one thing if it's coming from a place of fear, but if it's not coming from a place of fear, it's like, this doesn't do anything for me. This doesn't make me happy. It's a waste. Why are we doing this? Like, why are we taking, the kids to the soccer practice, right? We're paying monthly for something. They hate it. They don't like it. It's in the middle of the day. So you're rushing from here to there. Every day that it's soccer practice, no one's happy. They don't want to go. You don't even want to go, but we got to stick it out. But why? And some can say like, because the team is like depending on them. But what about you? What about your happiness? What about how it is that you feel? And guess what? If you don't play, then they'll just get someone else, So yeah. So it's okay to not finish something. If you're in the middle of something and you ain't rocking, it's not making you feel good and it's making you feel shitty and it's called, you ain't got to finish that at all. Number 25, always speak up for yourself. Yes. It is okay to speak up for yourself, because who else gonna do that shit? Nobody, right? So speak up for yourself. Speak your truth. It's yours. It's yours. So always speak up for yourself. Even if you're nervous, even if you're scared, even if you're uncomfortable, still speak up for yourself. So maybe let's just go with this. So it's so funny. I was on IG and 50 Cent. I love 50 Cent. He was on it was like XXL had him on, and they were talking to him about, if you follow 50 Cent, this dude say whatever the hell he want to say, and you be just dying laughing like, I can't believe he said that. So the guy asked him something about that, about him, just saying whatever he wants. And he was talking about like how on like in an Instagram, he'll post something or he'll call somebody out or whatever. And he was like, I'll say whatever it is I want. He said, so you'll see me on here. And he was meaning like social media, saying these things that people were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said it. But everybody else dying laughing or whatever. But he was like, I save that then so that I can say whatever I want later. And I was like, whoa, I need to listen to this again. But what he was saying was, I'm showing up. I'm going to call this person out. If somebody comes in my comments and says something crazy, I'm going to say something crazy back. I'm going to call this next artist out, and I'm just going to say whatever the hell I want to say, because then when I'm sitting in the boardroom and I'm working with these $1 billion or $1 million deals and stuff, I'm going to now also say whatever the hell I want to say. So I'm in control of things. And I was like, yo, that shit is deep right there. If you stay consistent and you speak up for yourself and you speak your truth, you will always stick up for yourself and you will always speak your truth. So yeah, so he's the same person that's going to say whatever he wants, trolling or whatever you want to call it. But he's also going to be the same one that's going to say, I don't like that deal. This is how I want things to do. And you're not going to control me because I'm speaking my truth and I'm speaking up for myself and what's in the best interest for me. And I thought that shit was so dope. And I was like, yes, 50, authenticity at its finest. Be you all across the board. You ain't got to worry about nothing. So what was that? Okay, that was number 25. So number 26, miracles happen all the time. You just have to open your eyes to be able to see them, right? So we'd be like, oh, I just need a miracle. I just need a miracle. But that miracle was coming through, but it didn't look like what you thought it was going to look like or how it was going to come. So you're just like, oh, do. But miracles happen all the time. They happen all the time, guys. And the more that you can get yourself into a state of flow, you'll start to see, and look to the left, you look to the right, you look in front of you, you might even turn around and look behind you, and you just start to see the miracles just pop up because you've allowed yourself to open into flow. So miracles happen all the time. Number 27, I co-create my reality along with the universe. And you guys too. So you can co-create the reality. What reality are you looking for? What is it that you want? And you can work and do this alongside the universe. And this is where it's like, oh, this is what it is that I'm seeking to do. And I'm asking the universe to support me on this. So you co-create your reality. You create that reality. And I say co-create because you're doing it alongside the universe, because now you're putting this energy out here and this is your frequency and your vibration. And now the universe is bringing things on that whole level towards you. So we're doing this together. So the universe has your back. It's not against you. The universe has your back. Number 28. I'm dope as shit. Straight up, period. Like, I don't want to say like, oh, I've always known this and stuff. But again, it's looking back at different things that's happened in my life and things that I've overcome and how I've been of service to people. And I look at it and I'll be like, yo, I'm fucking dope. And guess what? Each and every one of you guys listening to, like, y'all asses are dope too. 100%. So remember, you're dope as shit. Number 29. I've learned to practice non-attachment. And what I mean by that is not being attached with a particular thing. So I remember starting into this business, so transitioning from the home care to now on my spiritual journey to now, I have t-shirts and starting to teach courses and I do like one-on-ones and I had like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I got all these different things. I don't even know how to market. I don't know how to promote it. And I was like, do I even really want to do this? But I already put it out there and I said I was going to do this. And I got to that point where universe, God's spirit was talking to me and just understanding that I don't have to be attached to anything. So just because I launched the t-shirt line doesn't mean I have to continue doing the t-shirt line. If I don't want to do it anymore, just don't do it. And it's okay to curve and to go to like the next thing. So I don't need to be attached to it. Sometimes we have an idea or I'm just talking like entrepreneur or coaching world, right? You create like this course and this is this course that you have, but like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's help some people, but it's really not feeling it. Maybe no more, people really aren't even booking it, but you're still like attached to it. So it's just like, okay, no, it's okay. Cause maybe that I created that course. And because I created that one particular course, someone that took it was meant to come into my life. And that's how we connected. And that's what it was. And then I'm not even offering that course anymore. So it's just really coming to that place of practicing non-attachment and understanding the universe has your back and it's always going to be something better. But it's when we hold on to this level of attachment of something that we start to grieve because that idea is basically taken away and we no longer have that. And then we're like freaking out because that's what we thought we were going to do. It was going to be like this, and this. And Spirit's like, no, just have non-attachment and be able to, accept that you're being guided or directed elsewhere. Number 30. Creating space by removing what no longer serves me is important for my growth. So you will always hear me talk about creating space. Literally, physically, you can just be removing stuff in your house that is old. It's expired. It doesn't serve you anymore, and toss it. You're creating space to bring in other things. You're creating space in your closet. But it's the same thing in our energetic field. It's like, create this space. Well, how do we create this space? We remove the shit that is no longer serving our highest good. Are you holding on to some burdens that don't belong to you? Get rid of that shit. Right? It's too heavy. It's too heavy. Are you holding on to things that you have no control over? Get rid of that. Are you holding on to relationships in your life because you've been friends for 17 years, but y'all aren't in alignment with each other, but yet you're still holding on to it. And every day this person may be saying things or it's toxic, or you're uncomfortable, or causing some type of harm, mentally, physically, emotionally, like whatever, like that case is, but you're still holding on to it and it's no longer serving you, right? But when you create that space and release that, is super important for your growth, because now you've created healthy boundaries. You're in alignment with the fact that you love yourself. You also create this space for other things to come into your life, other opportunities, other people, more love, like abundance. So creating space is just so important for our growth. Number 31, be intentional in everything that you do. Intentional. So when you wake up in the morning, what are your intentions for the day? Are your intentions for the day to impact someone's life? Maybe the intentions for the day is to have your life impacted. My intention for the day is to gain some clarity in X, Y, and Z, right? Okay, so it's cool. So what about when you go to send someone a text message? Well, what are your intentions? So if you be intentional behind me sending this message out to you, what are your intentions behind that? How do you want me to receive that, right? And even when you're sending an email for someone, how do you want the person on the other end to really receive this? And if you're intentional about it, you'll start to create that email or that text message, your words around your intention, and it's the energy that you're putting into it. So that way it is clearly and effectively received on the other end. So be intentional in everything. What is your intention when you create this course? What is your intention when you create this business? What is your intention for the day when you go to work, or whatever, like the case is? So be intentional in all that you do. What number was that? So 32, people do want to hear what you have to say. Hey, and that was validated by you guys on this podcast. So I don't know, maybe you were someone like as a child, were always silent and, told to be quiet and stay in a child's place. And now as an adult, you want to start that podcast. You want to write that book. You want to do this video. You really want to talk about it. But then you instantly say, like, no one's going to want to hear what I have to say. No one wants to hear it. There's 7 billion people in the world. Somebody want to hear what you got to say. It's relating to someone. Absolutely. So for me, I learned that. And again, like I said, I have a podcast. So I get to see, numbers of downloads and how, and all that. So I'm like, okay, somebody want to hear what I have to say, or maybe someone leaves a review or they send me a message and I'm like, oh, okay. So people do want to hear what I have to say. That's nice. This is beautiful. So people also want to hear what you have to say. 33, you can just meet someone and feel like you've known them forever. And basically what I'm saying is soul connections are real. So I've along through like my life met people and I'm like, I feel like I've known you forever. And then I'm like, oh, that's because I have. This is just my first time meeting you this lifetime in this, this physical form. So yes, soul connections are very real. You can meet someone and just be like, gosh, I feel like I've known you forever. And I just want to tell you everything. And so yeah, it's because you have a soul connection with them. And that's a beautiful thing. Number 34. Oh, just because you connect with your soulmate doesn't mean that you guys will be together forever. So I've had that. And you can also have more than one soulmate. You absolutely can. And the soulmate, it doesn't mean that it's only romantic, right? So sometimes we connect with our soulmate to help further them along, or for them to help us further along into our journey. Sometimes we meet our soulmate and they come and they shake things up. They shake shit up, and they are actually the catalyst to getting ourselves back on track. And we're just teachers of each other, right? Teachers of each other. So if you connect with your soulmate and you have that amazing thing and then things end up not working out, like it still was real, but it just wasn't meant for you to be with them, quote unquote, forever. It was meant to really come into your life and to teach you a particular thing. And once that happens, then you guys go your separate way. And that's okay. It's still beautiful. Number 35, earth angels are real. There's lots of people who their role that they're playing, that they're earth angels. Some of them aren't even really here. You've seen them, but nobody else seen them. But I've had plenty of experiences with earth angels. And my most recent, for me to be consciously aware, was when I moved here. And just like the person who I rented the condo from, and how he helped so much without even like knowing me, which was super dope. And I was like, yo, that's one of my earth angels. And I remember there was a guy who was a homeless guy, and I came out of the store and I went to get in the car. He had asked for something. I was like, I don't have anything. And because who carries cash? Like, who does that? And I went to go get in the car and I had $1 there, and I was like, oh, wow. So I got up, I grabbed $1 and I went back up to him and I was like, actually, I did have something. And I was like, here you go. And I gave him the $1 and we just like locked eyes, and it was hella fucking weird. And I just like got in the car. Like, I was like, that was weird. But it was something about him. And then for like a week straight, I looked for him. I went to the same place and he was there. He wasn't there. And I looked like close things and I just never seen him. Like to this day, I never seen him again. And I was like, yo, was he even really there? Or was I really being, like tested of like, what am I willing to like give? Right. So I don't know. So then I went to one of my clients that passed away. I went to the funeral, to the service. So when I got there, some of my care providers, they weren't there yet. So I go in and I just find somewhere to sit, and I'm sitting on this bench all by myself. And all of a sudden, this older lady gets up. She's like, I can see out the corner of my eye. She's like behind me, and she comes up and she sits next to me. And she's like, hey. And I was like, hi. So instantly in my mind, I'm like, yo, why are you sitting next to me? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're at this room. Like, let me just sit here, play low key, pay my respect. But you're going to get up from your seat to come sit next to me to have a conversation with me at like a service. This is like, again, hella weird. And I was like, okay. So we just like talked, and then she got up and she left. And I want to say a couple of days later, something came up about like earth angels. And one of the downloads that I got was that I've encountered some. And then instantly I had those two memories. And the flashback was the homeless guy and the lady at the funeral. And I was like, oh my God, they were like my earth angels and stuff. So earth angels are very, very much real. You've seen the stories or heard the stories where they're like, yeah, like we broke down and then this person pulled up and then they like helped us and they're gone. I really want to like find that person. And they're like, no one knows who that was. Or they're like, no one was here. And you're like, no, somebody actually helped and shit, right? Like, yo, those are like those earth angels. So they are very real. 36. I much rather know that I'm receiving guidance from like a being in the spiritual realm than from someone here on earth. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can feel like you're alone and you're doing things like alone, but we're getting the guidance from the universe. We're getting the guidance from our ancestors, our spirit guides, our angels. And I'm like, I much rather have that guidance and help from, our spiritual beings than human, because us as humans, we have so many limits on us. We put so many limits and we feel like we can't do this because we're only limited of doing X, Y, and Z. But God, universe, source, wherever you're connecting at will move fucking mountains. And I've had some major shit happen that people are like, yo, that's crazy, right? Because as a human and, as everybody, we're thinking like, yo, how did that even happen? How did the carpet just roll on out and just be smooth? And I'm like, shit, because my spirit guides is dope as fuck. That's how, right? So number 37, stepping out on faith is very real. And I already explained, and I've shared that just even earlier in this, where traveling, from Virginia to Arizona and not knowing where we're going to stay, how we're going to eat, any of that, but just trusting and stepping out like on faith. And along the way, everything is just falling. Like literally the carpet's just rolling out. I'm just going and the carpet rolls out a little more and a little more, a little more. Boom, earth angel, boom, like all these different things is just popping up because I stepped out on faith. I stepped out on faith, something that I couldn't see, something that I couldn't touch, but I just knew that everything was going to be okay. And I had nothing to back it up. And guess what? Here I am still in Arizona. I didn't have to sleep in the car. We didn't go without, food. Like we're healthy, we're alive, like we're thriving, we're all walking in, every day moving a little more into our purpose. And I'm talking about like my children as well too, understanding and really getting to know like who we are. And I just stepped out on faith. So stepping out of faith is very real. Number 38, I have a purpose and I will continue to walk in it. So there was a point in my life where I didn't even think that I had a purpose. And this was just not too long ago. So when my best friend died and I was I was in the closet bawling my eyes out and just saying there has to be more to life than this, because if this is it, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? What is the purpose? And now I know I have a purpose. You have a purpose. We all have a purpose. Each and every one of us have a purpose, and we have our own unique gifts and talents. And I know that I will continue to walk in my purpose. My purpose is always going to remain the same. How I do it is going to shift, and that is okay. Number 39. I really love the West Coast. I'm in Arizona, guys. Yo, I ain't never moving back to the East Coast. All right, let me stop. I'm not going to ever say never, but the West Coast is dope. Like, it's just the energy, like the people, like everything is just different. So no disrespect to people on the East Coast, because I mean, that's where I'm from, the East Coast, but something about this energy out here on the West Coast, and like, I really love it. I love it. And I wish I would have experienced it a lot sooner, but it's all good. Everything is imperfect in divine timing. And I love my West Coast, baby. Number 40. Hey. So number 40 is I have so much more to learn, and I'm so ready, and I'm so here for it, and I'm ready to step into this next chapter. And the reason when I say like this next chapter is because it's not about me hitting the actual number 40, but it's just about where I'm actually at in my life. And I know I'm heading for another spiritual awakening and another just transformation, because we're always constantly evolving and growing. And I literally feel it like in my body, and I'm excited, and I'm like, okay, I've learned a lot, as long as I've been alive, but these are 40 things that jump out. And I'm like, yo, and I got so much more to learn and so much more to experience it. And I know that we are all here temporarily. However, I'm going to make the best of every fucking day that there is. And I am going to explore. I am going to have experiences, and I'm going to speak my truth, and I'm going to change my goddamn mind on things, and I'm going to open myself up to love. I'm going to allow the flow of abundance in, and I'm going to have the crazy ideas that I'm going to rock with, and I'm going to be all gun-ho about. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to be like, I'm not feeling this shit, and I'm over it. And then I'm going to curve, and I'm going to go to the next thing. And guess what? I'm going to keep exploring and experiencing it, and I'm here for all of this shit. So again, happy birthday to me. I am 40 years old, and these are the 40 things that I have learned in my life, and I wanted to share them with you guys. And if any of these things resonated with you, and maybe something that I said might have even triggered something in you, that's perfect. Because triggers are is just an invitation for us to go within, or for us to work on a particular area in our life. And if that is the case for you, and you do want to you want to explore this a little more, I would love to work with you on this. And if you're following me on Instagram, or if you're not, I'm on IG at Mindset Slayer. You can also go to my website, and it's www.healalignedglow.com, and that glow is GLO. And yeah, you could book a session, and I can dive deep into, what's going on with you, particular. Right now, I still have my quarantine special up. It's 30 minutes and it's like $35. I don't normally do 30-minute sessions because I like to go deep. Spirit gives me a lot of things about a particular person, and 30 minutes is really just not enough time. However, I did open it up to do 30 minutes just to, still be able to dive deep, just not as deep, but still be able to connect with you guys, and then also at a special rate. Yeah. So again, if any of these things resonated with you, and you want to talk about some things, work through some, see where, your blockages and all of that, I got you. Let's just book a session. But other than that, oh my gosh, guys, I'm just so full of so much joy and happiness. And so until next time, bye. Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.